Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is incredibly gloomy out today and I'm pretty sure it's raining, which is like really random, but it's like really dark in this room, so please excuse my lighting. But today we're going to be diving into the Laura Lee Los Angeles Nudie Patootie palette. I haven't tried any of her products before. I think she has another palette, it's called Cat's Pajama. I was just really intrigued with this palette and I knew I had to get it and test it out for myself. There has been quite a bit of drama kind of surrounding this eyeshadow palette, and I honestly, you can't really make a decision unless you've tried something for yourself because everybody has different opinions. So I bought it and I want to review it with you guys. It's gonna be like a first impression. I'm gonna start off with the packaging. I actually really do love the packaging on this. Is the outer box. It says Nudie Patootie right here, and in rose gold you have like the Laura Lee logo. I also love this blush rosy dusty pink color, and then the actual palette inside looks like this. Feels really nice. It's not like super cheap quality. It feels like heavy duty. I love this, you guys. It feels so cool. It's like bumpy. You have her little rose gold logo right there, and on the back you have a rose gold sticker, her little LL. I also love the ombre on this as well. It looks very sleek, clean, really pretty, but it's also fun and not boring at all. So I am a fan of her packaging. It looks really good. Now let's get into the actual fun part, which is the actual shadows inside. So these are the colors. The palette does come with a mirror. Let me see if it bends back. Okay, it bends back, which I like because I always fold my palettes, as weird as that is. So I'm glad that it does fold. These are the shadows inside, and honestly, looking at it in real life, I'm actually quite pleased. There was a lot of different variations of photos of this palette that were like really confusing because they look so different. And I'm like, okay, are they like super warm? Are they gonna be like way too light? What is this palette gonna look like? But I'm actually pretty happy with how it looks in real life. You have 7 matte shades and 7 shimmery shades. Some of the shimmery shades are like foiled metallic-y glittery ones, and some are just really pretty shimmers. I think that's a really good mix of both. I love the matte shades. This mustardy yellow is definitely calling my name. Like, that's probably one of my favorite colors in this palette because it makes such a beautiful warm transition color. And you do have like a darker chocolate brown in here, which is nice if you want to deepen up the look, make it more sultry or nighttime. I don't know, I feel like this is a pretty versatile palette. I actually can see myself using this quite a bit. This palette is $45. It has 14 eyeshadows. I think just looking at it, it's a great value. It's quite a large palette. I haven't tested them out yet, so I can't tell you like the quality yet. But just by looking at it, 14 shadows, $45, that's not bad at all. Each shadow comes down to like $3 and something cents, which is pretty good. My package came with a little postcard of Laura Lee. On the back you have the palette with the shadow names and like a description of the shades. But this is what I was talking about. Like, this picture is completely different than what the palette looks like, and I think that throws off a lot of people. This palette looks super dark and very warm. This is very kind of, you see taupey, cool tone shades in here as well, but this palette is so different in the picture. I think that's enough information. I'm ready to dive into this palette. I totally thought I was filming, but I wasn't. I took this shade right here. It's called Undressed. It's kind of like a nudie yellow toned matte shade, and it's gonna be a little bit too dark for my brow bone, so I just kind of like set my whole lid with it. It did have a little bit of kickback when I was picking it up with my brush. Not too bad, I can live with it. So now I'm gonna go into this shade right here. It's called Stark. It's kind of like a pearlescent shimmery shade, and this is gonna go underneath my brow bone for that pop of highlight, the glow. That's a pretty shade. The shadow definitely doesn't have as much kickback as Undressed, but it's also really pretty. Kind of has like this golden shift when it catches the light. I'm also going to take the shade Stark and just put that in the inner corners of my eyes. Ooh, I love this color. This has really nice pigment. I'm going to go to this shade right here. It's called Streaking. It's kind of like a soft taupey nude shade. It's really interesting actually, and I'm going to take that on my mysterious Morphe brush and pop this into my crease as our first transition shade. It's actually not as light as you think. Like, in the pan it looks like a really light color, but when you apply it, it has quite a bit of pigment to it actually. I'm gonna try to use as many colors as I can, but 14 shadows might be a little bit too much. I'm taking the shade Reveal, which is a nice taupe brown, and I'm also going to place this into my crease. And also taking a fluffy brush into the shadow, it doesn't really have that much kickback like flying everywhere, which is really nice. I'm going into Strip, which is that mustardy shade, on the same blending brush, and this is gonna go on top of the crease just to add a little bit of like that yellowy warmth. I love adding a mustard shade to my crease. It just, I don't know, it just does something, and I really, really like it. I'm gonna take Nakey Nakey, which is the darkest shade in this palette. It's like a dark matte chocolate brown. And I'm gonna take that on the same blending brush. I could pretty much use like one brush to do my whole eye look, which is generally what I do. This one has a little bit more kickback than the other shade. I'm just going to focus this on the outer parts of my crease. Ooh, this is a very pigmented shadow. For my lids, I'm kind of in between Au Naturel and Jaybird, only because those look really different. They kind of look like a very chunky, glittery, metallic shadow, and I want to see how they apply. So, I don't know. Are you seeing this? They swatched so incredibly creamy. Look at that pigmentation. This one is Au Naturel and this is Jaybird. Jaybird is kind of like a rose gold coppery shade, and this one is like a very like dirty gold bronze color, which I'm actually kind of leaning towards more. This one's really pretty too. I'm definitely going to be wearing this palette and trying out a bunch of different shadows, but I think today I might go with Au Naturel on the lids. Going in with a dry brush first to see how it kind of applies with that. It is a little bit crumbly with a brush. I'm assuming this is something that we're going to have to use with the finger, but it does pick up quite a bit of shadow on the brush. Alright, let's pop this on the lid. Oh. Okay. So it's really pigmented even with a brush. It goes on really nicely, as you can tell, but it does kind of like leave a little bit of fallout. This is definitely something you might need to wet your brush or use your fingers. So I'm going to go in with my finger just like you would like a ColourPop Super Shock shadow, and I'm just going to pop this on my lid. I am still getting some fallout. I don't know if you guys can see, like on my cheek. Hopefully that dusts away easily, but the color is gorgeous. Okay, so it didn't like necessarily brush away very well, kind of left some streaks on the face. So I'm going to go back and fix that after I'm done with my makeup. For the other eye, I'm taking the shadow on a brush, but I wet it this time, and I want to see how that applies. If it's better, less fallout. Oh yeah, the wet brush is definitely working out a lot better. It's depositing really nice pigment, but I don't have any fallout on my cheek. So although the finger gives you a lot of pigment, I think it's better to go with the wet brush because the wetness kind of holds back the fallout. Yeah, I like it with the wet brush. I'm going to take the shade Buff, which is a dark chocolate shimmery shade, and I'm going to take that on a small little smudgy brush, and it's going to go underneath the bottom lash line. Oh wow. This is a really pigmented, creamy shadow. That's a nice color. I'm taking the shade of Buff into my crease as well because I kind of like that smokiness and I want to bring it up a little bit just to deepen up the look. Make sure everything is blended out nicely. I'm going to take a shade right here. It's called Uncover. It's kind of like this really interesting light pearly lavendery shade. I don't know, that's really interesting. I'm gonna take it on a small brush, and I know I put a little bit of Stark in my inner corners, but I think I'm gonna like run this on top of it and just see if it gets a little bit more intense. Yep, definitely got more intense. I kind of ran it over Buff a little bit just to make it pop a little bit more, and I think I really like how that looks. To finish off the look, I'm gonna go ahead and add some mascara, and I will be right back. So these are the finished eyes, and I'm really happy with the way everything came out. The colors blended it beautifully together, very creamy and buttery. They all had great pigmentation. I don't think I was really disappointed with any shadows. The foil shadow that I put on my lid was probably the only one that was like just a little bit crumbly and had some fallout, but I think it's definitely one of those shadows that you want to use wet. When I used it with the wet brush, it definitely didn't have any fallout, so definitely keep that in mind. But everything else looks beautiful and I'm very impressed. For my lips, I'm going to take the Nubla Cosmetics liquid lipstick in the shade Closer, which is definitely a Jess shade. So I'm just going to pop this on really quickly. Okay, I'm obsessed with this lip color. It's my first time wearing this shade, but oh my god, this is so pretty. Let me get just a little bit closer and do some beauty shots for you guys to just show off the look. I'm gonna go ahead and swatch all the shadows on my arms so you guys can kind of like get an idea of what it looks like on the skin. Also, I didn't get to use all of them and I just want to see for myself how they look. So let's get into that. So those are all these swatches on my arm, and I found a lot of things to be surprising. First of all, the mattes, they swatch so beautiful and buttery. A lot of times matte shadows don't swatch very well, but they go on the eyes nicely. It's hard to like get an idea about like a good matte shadow just by swatching it on your arm, but these went on really, really nicely and were not patchy whatsoever. The three shades, Exposed, Au Naturel, and Jaybird, those kind of like more metallic-y foiled shades, they are more of a crumbly consistency. That's something you want to use with a wet brush. So that's the only thing I'll say, but it's not that it's a negative, you just want to use it with a wet brush because they do have like a more foiled, glittery consistency. Hello? The shade Jaybird, I actually didn't even realize that it's like a duochrome. It's this really beautiful rose gold, fiery, red copper shift. It's so beautiful. Like, I really hope you guys can pick it up in the camera, but it has so much dimension to it. Like, I was a little bit like shook when I like swatched that. I was like, hold on a second. Overall, really happy with this palette. Do not regret purchasing it at all. I think $45 is definitely worth it. Really nice quality shadows. I will definitely be reaching for this a lot. I can create so many different looks with it. I love me a neutral palette, but there's just some really fun, interesting colors. I love that yellow. Jaybird is freaking beautiful. I cannot wait to use this again. If this palette and the shades were speaking to you, but you were like still a little bit unsure, I definitely would recommend this to like my friends. I definitely recommend it to anybody who finds this interesting. I bought this palette with my own money to review with you guys to see what the hype is about. All my opinions are honest, of course. Like, I don't know why I would be dishonest. I'm not trying to impress anyone. So yeah, I was just as curious as you guys may have been about this palette, and now I'm happy that I know because I tried it out for myself. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Of course, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you guys think? Do you like it? Did you already purchase it? Do you just not care? Let me know. And of course, don't forget to follow me on Twitter, mesijesibeauty, Snapchat, Jesi Jet, and Instagram, Makeup by Jesi. Of course, if you have not subscribed to my channel already, please do so before you go. I would truly appreciate it. And with all that said, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys!